Campaign correspondent Robert Costa and CBS News legal analyst Rikki Klieman. Good morning to both of you. Bob, I want to start with you. We don't know exactly what's in this indictment. The special counsel's not talking, and it is under seal. But you're talking to law enforcement sources about the seriousness of this case. What are you learning?
Tony, good morning. Speaking last night and this morning to former federal prosecutors who know Jack Smith, the special counsel, they say he would not bring these series of charges unless he felt that he could win this case, that this is something that is serious and grave when it deals with national security matters. It's not only about alleged obstruction of a federal investigation and the attempt to secure these documents. It's also about having these materials and potentially having criminal intent to try to take them from the White House to his Florida home.
Rikki, what do you make of the decision to bring the case in Florida as opposed to bringing it in D.C., which they could have done?
I think it was a very smart strategic move on the part of the special prosecutor. It takes away one line of defense and a motion to dismiss from the defense, because the defense was easily able to say, everything happened at Mar-a-Lago, everything. So the venue should be in southern Florida. And if you made, Mr. Prosecutor, the venue in Washington, D.C., then the only reason you were doing that was to get a more favorable jury.
Speaking of the defense, the thing you're hearing already, and I think a lot of people at home will wonder this, is, look, lots of former officials, the former Vice President Pence, Joe Biden, have had documents where they shouldn't have documents. So what's different in this Trump case?
Well, what's different in this Trump case is the Trump case didn't have to happen, because the Trump case could have been just like Vice President Pence and President Biden. If the government, the National Archives, asked for their documents back because they are the people, that's the entity to have them, well, open up your home. Let people come in.
Which they both did.
Which they did.
And
so
Biden and Pence.
Their retention of documents was purely negligent. On the other hand, Donald Trump not only didn't let them in, but he returned things piecemeal, and then he absolutely decided to obstruct the investigation according to the government's allegation.
So what does it mean to be charged under the Espionage Act exactly?
Well, the Espionage Act, of course, sounds like spying, or it might sound like leaking, and perhaps for many years that's how it was used. It was also used to quell dissent. It's really very simple. It is the retention that is holding on to documents that affect the national defense, and not then giving them back to the rightful owner, the United States of America and the National Archives. It's that simple.
So, Rikki, were you surprised, and I know Donald Trump follows the beat of his own drum, but were you surprised that he himself broke the news of the indictment rather than the Department of Justice?
Yes, I was very surprised that it came from him. I did not expect that to happen.
Wouldn't his lawyers have said, don't do this?
Who knows what his lawyers will say,
and
have
does he listen to his
and
lawyers?
I was just about to say, and who knows if he listens. But for it to come out before 7 o'clock at night, after court was closed for the day, with nothing coming from the special prosecutor, was, to my mind and experience, shocking.
Bob, what are you hearing from former President Trump's inner circle about how Republicans are responding to this news?
Gayle, the Trump campaign is prepared for both political and legal war. This is going to be a rocky period in American politics because you have so many of the Trump forces inside the party rallying to his side, even his rivals, like Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said in a statement last night, the weaponization of federal law enforcement represents a mortal threat to a free society. And on Capitol Hill, the Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, said this is a dark day for the United States of America. It is unconscionable for a president to indict the leading candidate opposing him. Of course, this is the special counsel working within the Justice Department, not President Biden doing that. Yet some Republicans publicly are starting to question whether Trump should carry on as the frontrunner in this race, as the potential nominee. The former governor of Arkansas, Asa Hutchinson, who's running for the nomination as well, said, quote, "This reaffirms the need for Donald Trump to respect the office and end his campaign." Behind the scenes in the Trump campaign, there's alarm about what former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows might be doing in terms of possible cooperation with the special counsel. He had such an inside view about what Trump was doing in those final days when some of those documents came back to Florida.
Bob, Rikki said she was surprised from a legal perspective that Donald Trump announced this indictment on Truth Social. I imagine politically it's a different set of analysis. He gets to fundraise off of this. He gets to campaign on it. Do you think it could help him in any way?
There is a belief that after the FBI searched Mar-a-Lago last year that it did help Trump politically. It gave him a boost. But right now, there's so much uncertainty on the legal front and on the political front. There is a sense in Trump's world that the Republican voter out there, whether it's in Iowa, New Hampshire, or elsewhere, could rally to Trump's side. But so many people in Trump's inner circle have been saying to him for months, sir, you're not going to get indicted. This is probably not going anywhere. It's not much of a case. Now a former president faces a federal indictment. It's serious, it's real, and no one really knows how this is going to play out because the indictment itself has not been unsealed as it will be early next week. We don't even still know the facts.
Yeah, there could be some surprises in that indictment. It's important to keep that in mind.
And the reason there could be some surprises is so many people have testified, from the janitorial staff at Mar-a-Lago to his aides. All of these people have been pulled before a grand jury and asked question after question, what did Trump do?
Bob, I know. Sorry,
One
Rikki.
of the things to keep in mind about what we don't know yet is the question of false statements and conspiracy to obstruct justice. So, did he tell his lawyers to do false things? Did his lawyers know that? Did he tell people who worked for him to do false things? And remember this, the worst evidence against Donald Trump is once again from Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He says he retained these documents.
Yeah.
And by the way, they don't have to be classified. So the fact that he wants to say he declassified them is irrelevant.
Rikki Klieman, always grateful for your analysis. Bob Costa, for your reporting, as always. I know you're still on this beat. We'll be hearing from you throughout the day and the weeks ahead. Thank you very much.